Daniel Carter adjusted his baseball cap as he entered Waffle Haven. For once, he wasn't here as owner of the successful 15-location chain. Today, he was just another customer investigating why this original location showed declining profits and customer satisfaction. He took a corner booth and overheard two employees talking. "I can't believe what they did to Ethan," Mia whispered to Jordan. "Reporting theft from the register should have gotten Rick fired, not Ethan demoted. Rick takes money when no one's watching. 20 here, 50 there," Jordan replied. "And now Ethan's talking about quitting." Daniel's blood ran cold. His food arrived, delivered by exhausted Ethan with dark circles under his eyes. "Everything okay? You seem tired," Daniel asked. "I'm fine, just working a double shift," Ethan replied softly before manager Rick's voice boomed, ordering him to clear tables and mop the kitchen. Daniel watched Rick constantly criticize Ethan while barely working himself. When executives arrived, Rick's demeanor changed instantly. One was James Hoffman, the regional operations director, who clapped Rick's shoulder like an old friend. If Hoffman protected Rick, no wonder theft reports went nowhere. When Ethan accidentally dropped plates, Rick descended on him. "That's coming out of your paycheck." "It was an accident," Mia interjected. "Get back to the register before I write you up too," Rick snapped. The executives chuckled and returned to their meeting. Daniel made his decision. Tomorrow he'd go undercover as Dan Miller. 3 days later, Dan was hired and shadowing Ethan. Daniel observed Rick's management closely. When the register grew full, Rick made a show of counting, but his hands moved too quickly, angling away from the camera. That afternoon, Hoffman arrived. He and Rick disappeared into the office for 15 minutes, emerging looking smug. They inspected the restaurant, and when they reached Ethan's freshly mopped area, Hoffman deliberately dragged his shoe across the floor. "Ethan, the floor is still dirty," Rick called out. "I just mopped that area, sir," Ethan protested. "This mediocrity is exactly why you're still entry level after 2 years," Hoffman replied coldly. As Hoffman left, Daniel watched Rick slip him an envelope that disappeared into Hoffman's pocket. One evening, while cleaning, Daniel got Ethan to open up. "Been at Waffle Haven long. Almost 2 years. Used to be on track for assistant manager until..." Ethan stopped himself. "The register skimming?" Daniel asked. Ethan's eyes widened in alarm. Relief washed over Ethan's face. "I reported it with dates, amounts, even photos. Thought I was doing the right thing. Instead, Hoffman came down, had a meeting with Rick, and next day I was demoted with the worst schedule. Why would they protect someone stealing?" Ethan looked genuinely afraid. "Because Rick isn't the only one. Hoffman's taking a cut. Store managers skim cash and adjust inventory, passing percentages up the chain. It's systematic across the region." Over the next week, Daniel expanded his investigation. He volunteered for trash duty to access receipts, helped with inventory to document discrepancies, and secretly photographed sales reports. On Friday evening, he replaced the security system with one that actually recorded Saturday's anniversary celebration. Brought record crowds. Perfect conditions for Rick's skimming. Daniel captured Rick removing entire stacks of 20s. Around 2, Hoffman arrived. Daniel watched via security feed as Rick counted out bills and passed them to Hoffman in the office at 4 o'clock. Ethan stumbled slightly while carrying a tray. Nothing spilled, but Rick saw an opportunity. "Are you drunk on the job?" "Neither, sir. Just haven't had a break in 7 hours." An hour later, Rick and Hoffman approached Ethan. "We need to talk about your performance today," Rick announced loudly. "Multiple errors and customer complaints about your attitude." "What complaints?" "I've been polite to everyone." "Are you calling me a liar?" Hoffman nodded. "Customer satisfaction is what Mr. Carter built this company on." Something in Ethan finally snapped. "This is bullshit," he said quietly, then louder. "There are no complaints. You're setting me up to fire me without unemployment." The restaurant went silent. "You're fired," Rick sputtered. "No need. I quit." Ethan placed his apron on the table. Looking at Hoffman, he added, "I thought Daniel Carter built something special, a place that valued honesty." "What a joke." He walked out, head held high. After closing, Daniel watched via security as Rick emptied registers and the safe into a duffel bag. Sunday morning, Daniel Carter walked in wearing a suit. "Tell Rick the owner is here," he told the shocked cashier. BY9. The conference room was filled with bewildered employees, including Rick and Hoffman. Thank you all for coming, Daniel began. Some of you know me as Daniel Carter. Others know me as Dan Miller, the new hire. Gasps filled the room. For the past week, I've been working alongside you. What I discovered was disappointing and infuriating. He played footage showing Rick's theft and payoffs to Hoffman. Mr. Palmer has stolen $157,000 over 18 months. But worse is how you treated Ethan, who tried to do the right thing. He turned to Hoffman. When Ethan reported suspicious activity, you conspired with Rick to punish him instead of investigating. There's been a misunderstanding, Hoffman began. No misunderstanding. Daniel placed a USB on the table. This contains every piece of evidence, including recordings of your conversations about hiding the theft. 2 police officers appeared. Effective immediately, Rick Palmer and James Hoffman are terminated and facing criminal charges. As officers escorted them out, Daniel turned to staff. I owe you all an apology. I failed you by not seeing what was happening. That changes today. Daniel then visited Ethan's apartment. After explaining everything, he pulled out an envelope. Assistant manager position. Double your old salary, with a path to store manager within a year. Ethan's eyes widened. I don't know what to say. Say you'll accept. I will. On one condition, Mia deserves recognition too. She stood up for me. Already done. She'll be your shift supervisor with a substantial raise. Ethan smiled genuinely. Then I'm in. The next morning, Ethan returned to staff cheers. Daniel oversaw the transition. New systems were implemented, employees received raises, scheduling became fair. 1 month later, Daniel returned. Quarterly profits are up 17%, even with increased wages, Ethan reported. Treating people well is good for business. Daniel smiled. As Daniel left, he glanced back at the bustling restaurant. Mia greeting customers, Jordan perfecting orders, Ethan confidently helping staff. Waffle Haven was once again a haven for both customers and employees, just as he'd always intended.